What's going on? Much love, many blessings. Your boy Lotus. We're moving on to Sagittarius. Had a nice little pause there, but we're gonna get back to it. See if we can move through hopefully the Capricorn and Aquarius and see if we can just tie off the last of the signs. But right now we're channeling for Sagittarius, so let's really get into it for Sagittarius, because last season Sagittarius was dealing with the copes of their changes, dealing with the just letting winter be a reality within your space. You know, as a sign, you like to keep the jovialness nature going. You like to really just stay in what feels good for you, because you're like a sponge. So when you receive like just poor experiences and like just take in sensations that aren't the best for you, they leave a deep impact on you. You know, you're associated with the hips, and the hips can take on a lot of weight and carry a lot of weight without necessarily releasing its pain. So that nature resides within you as well. So dealing with that winter phase, it was kind of being pushed onto you from the universe from the last season. That was a lot to take on, because it affected you in the areas of things that were very precious to you that you didn't want to see change. Some of you were dealing with relationships where you were feeling like this shift and you weren't necessarily getting the most fire out of the situation anymore. It was starting to kind of like wane down, and you weren't really sure what was going on, because this was an aspect of self that you really wanted. Or some of you were just dealing with things that you were obligated to and feeling as if these obligations were preventing you from actually being able to see the world the way that you wanted to. So there were a lot of winter phases taking place, because a lot of you didn't want to give up, or were struggling to come to terms with these kind of like these ball and shackles that you kind of like had lingering on you. And it was feeling as if they were kind of keeping you from traveling. It was almost like you were forgetting your passport, but you were showing up with all your bags. So this season for you, Sagittarius, in its Leo season, I want to say that because of the circumstances that brought you to where you are now, it was almost like you were forced into a trial of sorts, and you didn't necessarily say that you were ready to be an initiate, but you were still forced to kind of go through it anyways. It was kind of like a metaphysical Squid Games, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we're here now, so we might as well go for it, you know? So what are we trying to drop off? You know, let's wipe the slate clean. You know, that last playthrough, that last life was a lot of debt, and if I get through this, hey, I might not have what I had, and this is kind of crazy. I didn't really want to deal with this, but if I come out of this on top, you know, I really can start fresh and new and do things the way that I want to. So you were going through this process, and you're kind of like seeing the culmination of this. Some of you may still actually be going through this space, and as you're starting to move through it, you're starting to discover like this energetic sensation that before you might have been able to ignore as an aspect to yourself, but now you're realizing like, oh, okay, like what is this? And it's this exploration that's taking place. Some of you, because of where it's sourcing from or triggering from, you may be delving into self or delving into your relationships and projects more than what you had before in the past. So yeah, I definitely I think the Leo season has kind of just, it's brought back the fun aspect for you. You were forced to deal with something that you didn't necessarily want to face, and now you weren't getting really any reward for it. It was kind of like an unsung thing. It's kind of almost like you saved the world, but like, you know, you don't get like paid hourly or rate for fucking doing that. It's just kind of like, you know, you get the brownie point. So you were feeling like, okay, I'm dealing with this, and at best, what is it going to give me when I come out of it? So now you're starting to kind of see like, okay, what's the residual, what's the benefit that's coming from this? And this Leo season is kind of bringing the life and shining light on those aspects, because Leo deals with the inner child. Leo deals with the jovialness and that sun nature. So you're starting to allow yourself to see what transpired or what seeded from the energy. And because Leo is sun and deals with suns, sometimes some of our jovialness comes from our nostalgia and our past. So it may be something that you would look past, because, you know, as the sign, the Centaur Sagittarius, there can be kind of a tunnel vision or a focus. It makes me think of like Eight of Wands, where you may have more mental, what's the word I'm looking for? mental focus to the point of hyper focus that you may kind of tunnel vision or bottleneck and miss out on like all of the really what the purpose is. So there's kind of like a reattuning and a refocusing going on for you, and the Leo is almost like it readjusted the light and kind of shined it in the areas of authenticity where you really needed to see truth for what it was. So it's a sense of grounding, some red going on here. So this Leo season is definitely pulling you back to where you need to be. If you take a pause and admit with yourself, you have been feeling like you may have been running or being aloof or running away from situations. Some of you, your situations were justified and you weren't finding any joy and you weren't getting what you wanted and you couldn't think straight. So you had to get away. You may have had to physically get away, jump states, travel, or just simply remove yourself from these situations that were just left where they were. It wasn't the resolution at the time, but it did help you to clear your head and get your headspace right. So some of the things that are going on now for you is the grounding that's taking place from having initiated these really significant and important changes that had to take place for you. It was necessary to bring you present. It was necessary to bring you back into who you are. And even some of you that did this to get away and it was healthy for you, you still got away from the things that gave you a sense of structure or that anchor because you just kind of jumped ship. So in doing so, it's time for you to kind of start establishing a framework. And this Leo season is kind of giving you those tools to establish that framework, to get back to what is practical for you, because you haven't been feeling practical. You've been doing, but you haven't been feeling that it makes the most sense to you. You're like, why does it not feel like it's all coming together? It's like, I got the formula, but I'm still not cooking up Krabby Patties. It's like, I don't get it. It's, like what's the secret? So it's got to be something. It's got to be something with the sauce. It's got to be something with the process. So it's got to be somewhere there's something being lost in the translation. If you have everything you need in front of you, which is what the universe is literally showing you, that means that it's with you. That means that somewhere that you're not seeing it the right way, you're not channeling the energy the right way. And as the sign of the seer, that's actually really important, because one of your greatest gifts is your sight. Some of you have great intuitive gifts. Some of you make great readers. You energetically can perceive, you can orate futures better than some other zodiac signs that take on these intuitive callings. You tend to be the seers, the physical seers that see beyond the physical sight, and you can see things beyond the present moment. So it's very important that you develop your gifts. So you're associated with the third eye and the higher realm chakras. It's very important that you get your beliefs and what you hold true in order, because what you believe drives your focus or affects your lens. So it's very important that you see clearly. So Leo has also realized that you've been a little bit too serious. You have been operating within too much fear frequency, and what you've been perceiving, it's not that it's necessarily been wrong, but you have not been giving the opportunity for all of the energy to truly showcase what it's actually presenting itself to be before you. So this Leo season has kind of opened that inner child for you, opened up some of that jovialness, those fifth house vibes, created some movement in that kind of that rigid adult that's not allowing for the feminine to flow, not allowing for the inner child to flow. Not allowing for the areas where that energy that allows for change and manifestation for the things that you've been truly desiring to come into fruition, to really get going. So this season you've been wanting to get going, and you're like, hey, let me just take that chance. Let me take this chance on let me take this chance on this. Let me get moving. That spontaneous nature may feel like you're not being responsible because you forced yourself to be not that, but there was a misappropriation of humility, because there was actually something deeper that you needed to tap into, to allow yourself to tap into. Outer spirit, you are never alone. Are you truly trusting yourself? Are you truly utilizing all that you are capable of? Are you just operating here in the physical? Are you allowing yourself to truly tap into your source power. Others create their own homes, they're at home with themselves, and they create their security. Are you utilizing all of your tools to create your security? Are you still only half-heartedly in it? Are you still questioning self? Are you questioning what you're capable of? Are you questioning being able to show up in your fullness in the moment? Are you being practical to where you find yourself? You have to operate within the nature of where you're at. And the beaver spirit is confirmation of making use of the tools and the surrounding ingredients that are available to you, and really allowing your mind to look at where you are in the present moment. Are you really making use of the energy before you? What are you seeing? Are you seeing what's before you in the present moment, or are you somewhere else? When you're in your mind, you allow your mind's lens to take you somewhere else. You may not even be operating within this moment, operating on the future that you desire to have, or cataloging and operating within a space, keeping yourself in a space that you're not supposed to be in. Are you fully here in the present moment? What energy are you utilizing? And is all of it conducive to what it is that you're trying to create during this time? There's some big things in store for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this is resonating with you and that you're feeling the heat rise. And as you feel these disruptions and these shakeups, that you're allowing the divine chaos to bring those questions to you, to ask you, what is this disruption that's happening during this time? And what is it that I need to be doing? Or is there something that I need to be doing differently to bring about a graceful or smoother result? Am I actually being honest or allowing? Because, you know, you can be a little stubborn sometimes too, as far as admitting when you're wrong, or owning especially if you misbelieve something, or you were operating under a misbelief. You can feel really dumb about yourself and not want to admit or change the process or act like it didn't happen entirely. But that's really doing yourself a disservice, you know, because your mind is very powerful and your sight is very powerful, and it's linked with confidence to your knowing. So you have to start giving it truth, giving it more truth. So there's plenty of it available during this abundant sun in Leo, where it operates in the truth and the Ra and the eye of revealing things behind the veil for what they truly are. And it's time for you to start trusting in your gut and connecting that with your eye and letting your sight be amplified so that you can know and comprehend and operate fully within your energy. I hope that this is resonating within your spirit. If it is, make sure to hit a like, make sure that you're subscribing, following, and just dropping those comments and letting me know how this is resonating within your space. All things Lotus, much love, many blessings, and Ashe.